Welcome to Life Stories, where real journeys unfold. Today, we dive into a story of resilience, betrayal, and the power of reclaiming what is rightfully yours. Imagine working tirelessly to build something from the ground up, only to have it stolen by those you trust the most. This is the story of one woman's fight to reclaim her legacy, her company, and her future. A tale of grit, emotional strength, and the lessons learned through overcoming the darkest moments. Stay with us as we explore how she took back what was always hers. Don't forget to subscribe and let's begin the story today. It's strange how quickly things can change. One moment, you're pouring your heart and soul into something you believe in, and the next, everything you've built is ripped away from you. My name is Emma, and for years, I poured every ounce of my energy into building my family's company. Late nights spent in front of glowing screens, endless meetings, and sacrifices that became second nature to me. I did it all because I believed in the dream of turning our struggling startup into something that could stand tall in the business world. The company, which we now called Vera Tech, went from being an idea I fought for to a $60 million powerhouse. But the moment we started seeing the fruits of our labor, everything began to fall apart in the most unexpected way. I had always been the quiet worker in the background, writing algorithms, securing deals, putting in the hours that no one could see, while I was glued to my desk, making sure everything worked. My sister Lily was living a life that seemed so far removed from the struggles of our daily grind. She was busy with her corporate career, chasing after titles and accolades, never once thinking about the early mornings or sleepless nights I had spent making sure Veritech was what it was. Then, Lily appeared one day, polished and confident, standing in front of a crowd with a smile that made everyone believe that she had been the driving force behind everything. She took credit for everything I had built. She spoke about the vision, the leadership, and the transformation she supposedly led. It was as if all those long nights and the sacrifices I made, trying to keep the company afloat, didn't even matter. Not once did she mention me. Not once did she acknowledge that I had been the one who laid the foundation. Lily was in the spotlight, basking in the attention of the world, while I was being erased from my own legacy. And to make matters worse, our father, William, sat next to her, nodding along, as if everything she said was the truth. The truth that had been twisted. The truth that had once meant something in our family, but no longer held any weight. There I was, sitting in the back of the room, watching as Lily presented our family's company as her own creation, with the audience clapping, the headlines running, and my name not even mentioned once. My heart sank. In that moment, I felt a mix of disbelief and anger. This was not just a betrayal of my hard work. It was a betrayal of everything I had believed in. I had poured my heart into this company for over a decade. I had been the one working tirelessly to build Vera Tech into what it was. And yet, my name was erased, replaced by someone who had no idea what it truly took to get to this point. The more I thought about it, the harder it became to breathe. How could they do this to me? How could they erase me from the very thing I had worked my whole life for? But instead of giving in, I made a decision that, in hindsight, felt like the only way forward. If they wanted to push me out, they would have to watch me take everything back. I wasn't going to walk away quietly. I had spent too much of my life building Vera Tech. It was mine. And no one was going to take that away from me without a fight. That night, after the media storm had passed and the applause had died down, I sat in front of my computer. My fingers hovered above the keyboard as I stared at the screen in disbelief. How had everything gotten to this point? Lily had taken everything I built and claimed it as her own. She had used my hard work to create her own image as the visionary leader. And my father, who had been my mentor and the one person I thought I could count on, had sided with her. But I couldn't afford to dwell on the pain. The time for anger had passed. It was time to act. The next morning, I woke up with a renewed sense of purpose. This was my fight, and I wasn't going to lose. The first thing I did the next morning was pull up Veritech's financial reports. My mind was clear now, no more lingering doubts or emotional turmoil. I had already spent years shaping this company. And it was time to turn the tables. I wasn't going to be erased again. If Lily thought she could take credit for everything, she had another thing coming. I knew the company inside and out. From the algorithms I had written to the deals I had negotiated. I had a deep understanding of what made Vera Tech run, something Lily didn't even care to grasp. But as I sifted through the financials, something strange caught my attention. The numbers weren't adding up. Private equity discussions were taking place in the shadows. Profits that should have been reinvested back into the company were mysteriously diverted elsewhere. And then I found it, Ethan Wells. A corporate predator. He had been sniffing around for months, trying to buy up shares, control the board, and tear down everything I had built. This wasn't just a hostile takeover. Lily was setting the company up for a sale. She was preparing to sell Vera Tech out from under me, all while pretending to be the great leader. My heart raced as I pieced everything together. She had manipulated the situation, using her charm and her position to make her way to the top. She had sold me out for power. And now, she was preparing to sell the company itself. The betrayal cut deeper than I ever expected. But I knew I had to act fast. I couldn't let this happen. If Lily thought she had me cornered, she was gravely mistaken. This was my company. I was the reason Vera Tech even existed. I wasn't about to let it fall into the hands of someone who didn't understand its soul. I made my way to the office, trying to shake the weight of the situation from my shoulders. As I stepped into the sleek glass lobby, I noticed the tension in the air. Employees scurried about, their eyes avoiding mine. I could feel it. Something was wrong. My instincts, honed over years of leading the company, were screaming at me that I had missed something. Or worse, that they had already planned something behind my back. That's when Rebecca appeared. She was a close ally and someone I trusted with the company's inner workings. Her face was tight with worry, and I knew something was about to break. "Callista," she said, her voice low, "there's an emergency board meeting right now. They called it without you." My stomach clenched. They were trying to move ahead without me. My own sister had maneuvered this so carefully that they thought I wouldn't even see it coming. I could feel the anger rising, but I forced it down. No emotional reactions. Not now. I strode toward the executive wing. Each step measured, each breath deliberate. I had a plan, but I needed to see how far they were willing to go. As I reached the boardroom, I pushed open the door without knocking. The room fell silent. Lily was at the head of the table, her confidence shining through the tension. William, our father, sat beside her, his face unreadable. She greeted me with that smile, calm, collected, like she had already won. "Callista," she said smoothly, her voice dripping with fake warmth. "I was just about to call you in." I looked at the papers on the table. Already finalized. It was done. Lily had made her move, and I had been left out in the cold. I folded my arms, my gaze fixed on her. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice as steady as I could manage. She leaned back, her smile never wavering. "Vera Tech has grown beyond its startup phase," she said, her eyes scanning the room like she was delivering a victory speech. "We need a leader who understands business strategy at the highest level. Someone with real corporate expertise." She paused, letting the words hang in the air, knowing the impact they would have. My heart pounded. I could feel the board members' eyes on me, waiting for me to react. But I refused to let her see me break. "And you think that's you?" I asked, trying to keep the sharpness out of my voice. She barely blinked, her confidence unshaken. "Perception is everything," she said, almost smugly. I turned to William, my father. "Dad, you know what I did for this company," I said, trying to make him see. His response, though, was nothing short of a gut punch. "Lily is doing a great job. That's what matters," he said, his tone dismissive, as if everything I had done didn't matter. And just like that, I knew, this was no longer about business. This was personal. My father had sided with her. I was alone in this fight. I stood up slowly, my fists clenched at my sides. "Fine," I said, my voice calm but fierce. Let's not talk about business. I turned to walk away, feeling the weight of their betrayal settle on my shoulders like a stone. But I wasn't done, not by a long shot. The days that followed felt like a blur, a constant whirlwind of frustration, disappointment, and, strangely, resolve. But deep down, I knew the fight was far from over. Lily might have taken the reins, but Vera Tech was still mine. I had spent years crafting it from the ground up, and no one, not even Lily, could take that away from me. I could feel the weight of every decision pressing on my chest. The betrayal had run deep, but I wasn't about to let it define me. I spent countless hours poring over every legal document, every financial report, every transaction that had taken place since Lily had gained control. What I found shook me to my core. She hadn't just stolen my leadership, she had orchestrated a plan to sell Vera Tech off to a corporate predator. Ethan Wells, someone known for stripping companies bare and leaving nothing but a hollow shell behind. This wasn't just about power, it was about destroying everything I had worked for. I couldn't let that happen. I had to stop it before Lily destroyed Vera Tech completely. But I wasn't going to play by her rules. No, I had learned the hard way that to win in this game, you had to be willing to do whatever it took, even if it meant playing dirty. I spent the next few days quietly gathering my team. Rebecca, Lucas, and Samuel were all on board, each of them eager to help. But we all knew the stakes were high. Lily had already set the wheels in motion, and I had to act quickly. We had one chance to turn this around. And if we failed, Vera Tech, the company that had been my entire life, would be lost. That's when I discovered it, the one thing Lily had overlooked. The licensing agreement with the software company Allura Systems had expired, and Veritech's entire infrastructure was dependent on it. She had been so focused on controlling the narrative, so obsessed with her image, that she didn't notice the one thing that kept Vera Tech running. The software. Without it, Vera Tech was nothing, and I held the key. I couldn't help but smile as I reviewed the documents. Lily had made a fatal mistake, one that would cost her everything. But the beauty of it was, she didn't even know it yet. The morning I decided to make my move, I felt a calm that I hadn't felt in weeks. As the first rays of sunlight filtered through my office window, I grabbed my phone and dialed the number I had been avoiding. William, my father. I needed to speak with him. It was time to finally confront him, to make him see the truth. But when the call went straight to voicemail, I knew I couldn't rely on him anymore. I was on my own. Later that day, I walked into Veritech's headquarters. The tension in the air was palpable. Employees were talking in hushed tones, casting furtive glances my way as I passed. Lily had done a good job of playing the victim, of painting me as the one who had failed the company. But I wasn't here to plead my case. I was here to take back what was mine. As I entered the boardroom, the room fell silent. Lily was at the head of the table, her expression a mixture of smugness and surprise. But this time, there was no fear in my heart. I was in control. You think you can just walk in here and demand things? She scoffed, her voice dripping with disdain. I met her gaze without flinching. No, I said evenly. I know I can. The board members were watching, some uncomfortable, others wary. But Lily's grip on the company was slipping. William, sitting in the corner, silent as usual, didn't move, his eyes avoiding mine. It was then that I knew. It was over. 24 hours, I said, my voice steady. You either meet my terms, or I walk away, and Vera Tech belongs to no one. For the first time, I saw Lily hesitate. The mask she had worn so carefully began to crack, and I knew then that I had won. The following morning, I stood in the boardroom again, watching as the board members murmured among themselves. The once confident Lily was now a shell of herself. The arrogance was gone, replaced by fear. The numbers had spoken. Vera Tech was on the verge of collapse, and Lily's reckless decisions had brought it to this point. Callista is the only one who can fix this, one of the board members said, turning to Lily. And just like that, the power shifted. My father finally spoke. Lily, he sighed, his voice full of regret. You weren't ready. You let your pride destroy everything. The words stung, but they were the truth. It was over for Lily. She had failed, and I had come back to claim what was mine. As I walked out of that room, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It wasn't just about winning. It was about reclaiming my place. And for the first time in years, I felt like I was finally where I belonged. As I walked out of the boardroom, the weight of everything I had been through over the past few weeks began to sink in. The victory wasn't just about reclaiming the company or proving my worth. It was about something deeper. It was about resilience, about standing tall even when the world tried to push you down. It was about refusing to let anyone erase your contributions, your dreams, your legacy. In the end, it wasn't about proving anyone wrong. It was about proving to myself that I was capable of much more than they ever gave me credit for. I had spent years pouring my heart and soul into Viratech. And though the journey had been filled with betrayal, heartbreak, and setbacks, I had come out stronger. It was hard to look at my father and sister and not feel a pang of sadness. But I knew that this was the only way forward. The war was over. I had won, not because I wanted to hurt anyone, but because I knew my worth and refused to let them take that from me. Viratech was finally back in my hands. And with it, I had the chance to rebuild, to lead, and to make sure that no one ever underestimated me again. As I looked out at the skyline from my new office, I couldn't help but smile. There was peace in knowing that no one could take away what I had fought so hard for. If this story resonated with you, if you've ever faced obstacles and came out stronger, drop a 1 in the comments or share your story. And if you want more stories like this, real, raw, and powerful, hit that subscribe button. Your journey isn't over, and neither is ours. Let's keep going. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more life stories.